Welcome to our class. In this class, we will look at HTML lists. The most commonly used HTML list is an unordered list. It consists of an opening and closing UL elements. The items inside the list are identified by an opening and closing LI element. UL for unordered list, LI for list item. So if I were to load this document in my browser, by default I have a bulleted list. Notice that there is a left margin from the edge of the page. This is also a block level element. There is a margin on the top and a margin on the bottom. Each individual LI element is also a block level element as they stack. And if the content were to be large, it would wrap underneath the bullet point. So two-sided elements either contain other elements, which is the case for the unordered list tag, or they contain content, which is the case for our LI or list item tag. If I wanted to add some space underneath my bullets, I cannot just click the Enter key. Remember, HTML ignores white space, so this will not put space underneath my LI elements. Notice. And I cannot put a BR here either. A break element only takes the content down to the next line, number 1. Number 2, this is technically illegal. All of the content goes inside the LI. It does not go in between the tags. And this is very, very important. The reason it's important is because the UL element is used for industry standard navigation, which we will learn in another class. So if I wanted to put some space, actually one BR is not going to work, because all that's doing is taking it down to the next line, which it does by default. I would need to use a second one. And now we have some space. When you start learning CSS, you will learn how easy it is to adjust the margins between the elements, which is how you would approach this. There was a type attribute in older versions of HTML, which would allow us to change the marker type. Notice it still works. However, that is deprecated in HTML5, and you should not be using it. You may see it on the internet as it is older code. An ordered list is indicated with the opening OL and the closing OL, and it uses the LI elements the same as an unordered list does. So these tags function the same inside either list. So if I were to save this and render it in the browser, by default I am getting a numbered list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it automatically puts the period there. Notice it is indented from the left. It is a block level element. There is a margin on the top and the margin on the bottom. In HTML5, the type attribute is allowed for the OL. So if I wanted uppercase letters as my numbering system, I could use the HTML attribute, set it to the A value. And notice the syntax. Attribute equals values. In HTML5, a value can have double quotes, single quotes, or no quotes. In older versions, developers always use double quotes, and you will see that most people continue doing it that way. If I were to save this, now notice capital A, B, C, D. If I were to change it to a lowercase a, now I have lowercase. If I were to change it to a Roman numeral, now I have Roman numerals. In addition to the type attribute, we also have a start attribute. If I wanted to start at another letter, I would indicate the position of that letter, not the letter itself. So by default, we would have A, B, C, D, E. If I wanted to start at F, it would be the 6th position. So if I were to save that, now I can start at F. This is useful if you need to break your list up and want to continue it further down the page. We also have a description list. The syntax of the description list is a little different. Here we have an opening DL and a closing DL for description list. In earlier versions, this was called the definition list, so you may see people referring to it with that name. HTML elements either contain content or other elements. A DT, which is a term, and a DD, which is the data description. And they go in pairs. You have a DT and a DD, a DT and a DD, a DT and a DD. So if I were to save this, the formatting is a little different. The term is on the left, description is indented. These are all block level elements. There is a carriage return after them. There is a margin on the top of our list and at the bottom of our list. So these are some very commonly used lists in the HTML language.